when it came to him getting ready to be a head pastor, I ain't had no questions about it. He was ready.
Man,
Had it on
league,
him.
big dog.
but I didn't even want it though, to be honest with y'all.
And that's why you was ready.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It's the most fulfilling,
Yeah.
but it's also one of the most challenging things I've ever done, to be honest with you. But yeah,
So when you say you didn't want it,
yeah,
that's, I think a lot of us, when we on the outside looking in of pastoralship,
yeah,
we think of like these are the quarterbacks, the point guards. These are the people that we got our eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that are in our eyes favored by God and things like that. And for to hear you say, I do not want this, and we've heard this, across the board from other younger pastors and preachers and things of that. Like, I didn't want this calling.
right.
Run me through of being honest with God, of just saying, or were you honest with God of saying like, hey, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And what was the turning point for you to be like, all right, thy will be done, and you're
Right.
doing it anyway?
That's a great question. I think, so I think backstory, right? Like, so I was in college as, 18, 19-year-old, and I wanted to be a sports journalist, right? Like, so once I realized that being 5'8" and about 140 pounds, I probably couldn't make the NBA, right? I had to shift, my hopes and dreams. I just wanted to be involved with sports. So I was like, man, I've got the voice. I want to, be a sportscaster. And I was on my way there. And then at 19, I felt God calling me, and, it was confirmed so many times. And I was like, I'd rather not. I'd rather do something else and keep God on like that part-time, like, all right, I'll go to church, I'll give my offerings, but I got what I want to do. But, I started to embrace it, started preaching at 19, but I still wanted to be a journalist. It's like, all right, I'll preach, Lord, but I still want to do this. I didn't start desiring any type of pastoral leadership until I felt God saying, this is actually where I'm taking you. And I remember having a conversation with a mentor at that point in time. He was like, will you go after what God has called you to, or what you'd prefer to do? And when that was a hard question for me, because like, well, can't I have both, right? Can't I do what I'm called to do and also what I want to do?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I realized that like if I was a journalist right now, it would take away from what I could be doing as a pastoral leader, right? Like I'd be at football games on Sundays, basketball games on Sundays, and to be honest, it would have been all about me. My followers getting, being known, being famous, and that was an idol for me, right? I wanted that spotlight. I wanted, to have the blue check mark on Twitter, right? I wanted all of that. I wanted that glory, if you will. But the call to pastoral leadership, really operating in what God called me to, is less of me now. And that's been one of the hardest things, right? Like not trying to measure myself up to where other people are. Not trying to count, their pockets versus my pockets, but God, am I doing what you would call me and have created me to do? And that's, I believe in my heart of hearts, what I'm doing right now.
That's dope.
Yeah.
How do you? Oh, go ahead, man.
Oh, go ahead. You got it.
Nah, you got it.
Okay. So I think we've used the word calling and purpose.
Yeah.
Let's give a baseline to the people. So
Yep,
do you
you right on the same
differentiate
page.
calling and purpose, and
Yeah.
how does one find either?
That's a good question. I think for me, I'm huge on purpose. And the way I would define it is understanding and discovering why God made you the way he made you, right? Darius Daniels is one of my like mentors from afar. If you haven't heard Dr. Darius Daniels, you should know who he is in the Christian faith. He basically kind of gives this analogy that purpose, when you're operating in purpose, you're either a answer to a question or a solution to a problem.
Yes, sir.
Right? So when you walk into a room, what is it that, you bring that glorifies God? And I think for me, I discovered that when I was 19 years old, but I think you can discover, your purpose at so many different times throughout your life, right? I think about Jeremiah, who found out early in his life, right? Other people find out later in their life. But I think for me, being able to say, okay, this is what I know God has called me to and put me on earth to do, and nothing else will satisfy me like this. And I think also on top of that, when I think about like let's say, okay, so my calling to preach, right? I call myself now a journalist for God, right? Like I was a journalist, right? And I was doing journalism and all that. And God used all of that to shape me and to prepare me for what he's purposed and called me to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like some people will get the exposure to their purpose by following God and doing certain things, right? Like that's why I tell everyone, don't just take any type of job. Be praying about where you're going to be working and whatnot, because God has a way of strategically exposing you to things that will prepare you for purpose. So yeah, at the end of the day, you're either an answer to a question or you are a solution to a problem. Like, so if something bothers me, but it doesn't bother you,
Yeah.
it may be something I'm called to fix. And that's why some people are like, oh, you know, that doesn't really bother me, because you maybe not called to it, right? But like social justice or other things that really bother people, maybe that's something they're called to and they need to be leaning into. So,
Yeah. What do you say to the people that like they feel that urging and they didn't
Bring
understand?
your mic a bit closer.
Oh, my bad.
You're good.
What do you say to the people that they feel that way? Like they feel like this might be something that is their purpose, but they struggle to take that first step to walk it out. Because like you said, you know, you saw your life going a whole different way.
Yeah.
But, you know, for some of us, that might be like a disappointment to not do what you want to do and do what God is calling you to do or what your purpose is. But once they accept it, now it's like, all right,
What
this
do
is
I
my
do now?
purpose, but what do I do? Yeah. So how do they take that first step and kind of, you know, walk it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with testing God, right? I think sometimes we are like, well, I'm going to just wait on God to show me what I need to do. It's like, well, sometimes you actually have to do something. And then when you actually do something, God will meet you in that human action, right? Like some of the greatest miracles we read throughout scripture is on the other side of people doing something,
Yeah.
right? Like I've got to actually do something. And then, oh, now we do see God, you know, really show up. So it's like, apply for something that you actually feel called to, or start a business proposal and start getting people involved and figure out from there, okay, is God blessing this or is God blocking this for a reason, right? So yeah, I mean, you got to do it, right? Like I tell people a lot of times, like in these days, we can't afford not to Nike. We got to do it, right? No matter what it is, do it scared, do it without the money, do it without clear vision. Like start somewhere, do something. And then like, I mean, I think about like Tabitha Brown.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what she started with like just putting out some videos, talking about her vegan life, and like, look at what it's like. So what would have happened if she didn't start?
Yeah.
Right? Like what would have happened if Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs did not go into their garage and start building Apple computers? We
Yeah.
wouldn't have iPhones and iPads and all those things today, right? So you've got to start somewhere. Just start doing it. And then as you start doing it, at some point, God will reveal what's really it and maybe how he needs to redirect you into something else.
Yeah. And I think too, like to a certain extent, like when you feel that you prepared, it's too late.
Right.
Because like you're never gonna truly be prepared for it. Because if you had everything you needed, there would be no need for God in the process, right?
Absolutely. And that's a great
yeah.
point, because you can't carry out purpose without God.
Yeah.
Right? So like in my belief, you could do a whole lot of things. You can, you know, accept careers, you can work your way to the top, but truly functioning in purpose cannot be done without God's presence.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things that also differentiates like purpose, or is this just a job that I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Purpose can't be achieved without God's presence. You can do your best, but without him, it's not operating in purpose.
Yes, sir.
So if there's a person who's not a believer,
Yeah.
but they're called, they're filling out their purpose, how do you wrestle with that? How might you counsel them, Pat? Like if they were a friend, like.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying, so somebody who's not a believer, right? But they're wanting to talk about my definition or the way that I look at purpose, right? Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So I think for me, right, you can definitely be a great person, do a lot of good things, do good things for the community, but that does not mean that you are actually functioning the way God made you. Right? Because a lot of people do things, let's be honest, a lot of people are doing things because it's been in the family for a long time, right? It's like what mom and dad told them to do. It's what other people have said they would be good at. So my question would then be, okay, what do you feel, let's see, what would I say? What do you feel the most because I can't use called if it's a unbeliever, right? Because that doesn't make sense for them. So I would say, like, what is a thing that really frustrates you or really gives you a sense of, I feel good doing this, right? And so then if they name that specific thing, sometimes that's the very thing that God wants to redeem and use it for his glory, right? So it's like, okay, I feel good about, this particular business. Okay, have you started the business, or are you working in that area right now, or what is it? And how can God ultimately get glory out of it? So of course I'd have to walk them through what it means for God, an intentional God, to make us the way he makes us and for a purpose. But then get them to see, like, life is so much bigger than just them. Because that's another aspect of purpose, right? It's got to be bigger than me. If it's not bigger than me, it's not God. Because I need God in order to do what's bigger than me. I cannot pastor this church without God's presence.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. And I think that's something God's been dealing with me with recently, is like, because sometimes I'll start to depend on my own ability to speak well, to engage a crowd and all that, and not always practice his presence. So that's where I'm at right now. It's making sure I'm disciplining myself to practice his presence so that he's really leading and guiding me in this aspect, because I need him. I need him to do what he's called me to.
Yeah.